Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
Well, from coffee to cattle to cocoa, it feels like the price of everything is getting higher right now. And that's a real problem for large food manufacturers, including for Kevin Hourican. He is the CEO of Sysco. He is a food distribution company that services restaurants, educational facilities, and hospitals around the world. So, Kevin, you have a really unique view into some of these supply constraints that are impacting different parts of the commodity world. And I'm curious about how you at Sysco are handling a market and different parts of that market, from cattle all the way to coffee. What does that mean for Sysco?
Katie, good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you on the show and with your audience today. To understand inflation and where we are at the spot moment, I think it's helpful to just take a quick step back over the past couple of years. As you just said, we're in what's called the food away from home business, so everything outside of the grocery store, restaurants, hospitals, education facilities, sports venues, and the like. Coming out of COVID, demand was far outpacing supply. We saw significantly increased inflation. In fact, it peaked at about 18% a couple of years ago, again, with demand far outpacing the ability of producers to supply product. We followed that with deflation, actually, where the costs were coming down, and we've settled at about 2%. So at the spot moment today, inflation, COGS increase inbound to Sysco is at about 2%, which is in a reasonably normal status, and that's across all categories. But that doesn't mean that there aren't individual categories like chicken, as an example, where we're seeing elevated inflation because of, again, lack of supply versus demand. So we're seeing a bit of a normal environment at the current moment. The challenge that consumers are facing is the following, Katie. If you look back cumulatively over the past 2 to 3 years, menu prices, when we go to a restaurant, are up about 30 to 40% versus 2019. So I think that's the pain that we're all feeling when we go to a restaurant. We at Sysco are taking actions with our supplier community and with our own book of business to help bring those prices down so we can help restaurants lower menu prices and still hit the profitability targets that those individual business owners are hoping to achieve.
Right. It seems like consumers who are looking forward to a spate of deflation are looking at a December even alone where cocoa, coffee up almost 40%, more than 10% respectively. And if there is something you could do to bring those prices lower, what exactly is it at the end of the day? Or do you simply just see consumers shifting their preferences to goods that are cheaper?
Sure. That's a great question. I appreciate it. And we view ourselves as a part of the solution, not the problem, and have a 4-part plan, if you will, to help decrease the pain that consumer is feeling when they go out to eat. First and foremost is to work with our supplier community to bring down costs. We are the largest purchaser of food in the food away from home segment. So leaning in hard with our suppliers to help them be more efficient, be that how we buy, the frequency that we buy, creating competitive environments to have suppliers of like product compete for our business so we can get to a lower net landed price and again pass that value and savings on to our end customers so they can lower menu price. Step 2 is Sysco brand. We offer a private label product under the Sysco banner, and that product is very high quality, and it enables our customers to save money. We say save them time, save them money. It may surprise you that 50% of what we sell to a mom and pop independent restaurant is a Sysco branded product, and we can lean in harder there. We call them swap and save opportunities. Make it clear on our ordering website, make it clear through our 7,000 person plus sales force to share that value with our customers, to educate them. If they swap, they can save. Thing number 3 is to take time out of the kitchen, right. Help them with the opportunity to take labor costs out. So we have prepared foods and the like that we can lean in by cutting the meat in advance of it arriving in the kitchen, cutting the vegetables in advance of it arriving in the kitchen. And those prepared foods are a good opportunity for our customers to take labor costs, because those are the 2 things that have increased the most for a restaurant. Their food costs are up, their labor costs are up. We can help with providing both of those opportunities. And last but not least is lower cost alternatives. If one protein category is spiking, we can help that customer understand, make the following changes to your menu. You can shift your consumer purchasing to a lower cost of food, helps the end consumer save money, helps that restaurant lower their food costs.
Interesting perspective there, especially when it comes to switching out proteins to maybe save on cost a little bit. We're talking about input costs, of course, the actual cost of chicken, cattle, et cetera. But I want to talk about tariffs and the potential there. You think about food packaging, for example. You think about produce coming from Mexico and other places. A lot of unknowns right now, of course. Donald Trump isn't even in office yet. How do you possibly plan ahead for some of the potentials that are being talked about right now, though?
This is a very important topic and appreciate the question. I think the main point of what you said is accurate, which is it's not actually certain what will happen. It is uncertain what specifically will occur. But if I take, again, a giant step back and start with some facts, the vast majority of food that is consumed within the United States is purchased within the United States. And we're a global company. We do business in over 90 countries around the world. In each country that we operate in, the majority of the food is actually purchased within that country. So the impact to our space, the industry we're in, is less than select other spaces. But you mentioned one, which is produce. Of course, during the winter months, a lot of produce that's consumed in the United States comes from Mexico. Yes, we're paying attention to what incoming President Trump has said about tariffs from China to specifically, most recently, Canada and Mexico. And we're taking prepared measures and actions to put ourselves in a position to succeed in helping our customers if those tariffs come to realization. There's some pundits saying that it's a bit negotiating strategy. We don't know, is the honest truth. So here are the things that we need to deliver for our end customers. Thing one, assurances and continuity of supply. Regardless of what happens with tariffs, we need to ensure that we, Sysco, can ship on time and in full to our end customers so that they can keep their doors open and satisfy their end consumers. So that's thing number one, assurance of supply. Because we purchase more food than anyone in our space, we can provide our customers with that confidence that we will have what they need when they need it. Thing two is affordable cost. And if a select individual country sees a spike in tariffs, let's just say we're China, can we source that product from somewhere else? We're working aggressively with our global supplier community in exactly that regard, and we will pivot. We will take actions. It's hard to comment on the specifics at this time when none of us know exactly what those tariffs will be.
Kevin, we thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, a balanced view here on what's going on in the world of food and restaurants. That is Kevin Hourican of Sysco.